Welcome back to the ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today, we're diving into the emotional chaos, explosive confrontations, and tense moments heading for Port Charles on Thursday, November 13th. The next episode promises a roller coaster of emotions, betrayal, fear, and long-buried resentments boiling to the surface as several key storylines collide in unexpected ways. From Willow's fury at Michael to Jason and Britt's dangerous interruption, and even a group of reckless teens risking everything, this is an episode that no General Hospital fan will want to miss. Laura Collins fears for Rocco's future. The day begins with Laura Collins sitting down for a serious talk with Martin Gray. Laura has seen too many young lives ruined by Port Charles' endless cycle of secrets and revenge, and she's deeply worried that Rocco Falconeri might be next. Her instincts tell her that something is brewing, and she's right. Rocco has been hanging around Charlotte Casadini and Danny Morgan, both of whom seem determined to take matters into their own hands with a risky lab break-in. Laura voices her fear that Rocco could get caught in the crossfire of something dangerous, unaware that the teens are already preparing to act that very night. The gravity of her concern underscores how history seems to repeat itself in Port Charles. The next generation often pays the price for the mistakes of their parents. Martin tries to calm Laura, reminding her that kids sometimes push boundaries without realizing the stakes, but she can't shake the feeling that trouble is coming. The teen trio's reckless plan. Meanwhile, inside an abandoned wing of the hospital, the tension among the young conspirators grows. Danny Morgan, Charlotte Casadini, and Rocco Falconeri are moving forward with their plan to break into the lab, despite Emma Scorpio Drake backing out at the last minute. Emma had the good sense to prioritize her support for Giovanni Joe Palmieri at GH, but her absence only seems to embolden the remaining trio. They convince themselves that they can handle it without her. As they sneak through dimly lit corridors, the weight of what they're doing begins to dawn on them. Rocco hesitates, but Danny, driven by a sense of curiosity and Casadini-level mischief, pushes forward. Charlotte, torn between proving herself and knowing better, follows suit. Just as they begin to override the security system, fate and Professor Henry Hank Dalton intervenes. Professor Dalton's untimely arrival. Dalton's timing couldn't be worse. The professor, already known for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, stumbles upon the teens mid-break-in. His surprise is matched only by theirs. In a panic, Rocco tries to hide, Charlotte freezes, and Danny attempts to explain, but Dalton isn't buying it. Whether he reports them or tries to handle the situation himself remains to be seen, but one thing's certain: this incident could spiral out of control and put several reputations at risk. Dalton's involvement might also tie into larger events, as rumors suggest he's linked to a confidential case involving hospital research. His discovery of the kids might inadvertently expose information that powerful people in Port Charles don't want out. What began as a teenage dare could soon evolve into a full-blown scandal. Jason and Britt's interrupted conversation. Elsewhere in the hospital, Jason Morgan and Britt Westburn share a quiet but emotional exchange. Britt has been spiraling lately, questioning her worth and her future, and Jason, in his usual stoic but compassionate way, steps in to remind her that she's not beyond redemption. He tells her that despite her mistakes, she's proven time and again that she has a good heart. His words are honest and raw, cutting through Britt's self-doubt like few others can. But just as Britt begins to soften, the moment is shattered by an unexpected interruption. Whether it's related to the lab break-in, or perhaps the arrival of the menacing Pascal, it's clear that peace won't last long. Britt stiffens instantly, her walls going back up as the chaos unfolds. This interruption could very well draw Jason into yet another dangerous confrontation, and force Britt to confront her own fears about her past. Pascal returns, and Britt's rage boils over. Later in the week, Britt is seen lashing out at Jen Sidwell, threatening him in a way that only Britt can. Sharp, unapologetic, and fierce. Her temper flares because of Pascal's reappearance, a man who once tried to eliminate her. The encounter reignites her trauma and sends her into a defensive frenzy. Jason steps in, his protective instincts on full alert, warning Pascal to stay far away from Britt and from the hospital. Jason's tone leaves no room for doubt. If Pascal makes another move, there will be consequences. These scenes highlight Britt's internal struggle between vulnerability and survival. Every threat she makes, every harsh word she throws, is really an armor she's built to keep from breaking. Jason sees through that facade, and though Britt resists, it's clear that their bond continues to deepen, forged in the fires of shared danger. Alexis Davis and Drew Kane's heated exchange. Meanwhile, over at the invader's office, Alexis Davis and Drew Kane face off in a tense confrontation. Alexis is furious. She believes Drew isn't doing enough to keep Willow Tate focused and out of trouble. Willow's recent arrest and emotional instability have put her freedom in jeopardy, and Alexis knows that one more outburst could ruin everything. She warns Drew that Willow can't afford any distractions, least of all those caused by her complicated relationship with Michael Corinthos. Drew, however, pushes back. He insists that Willow is strong enough to make her own choices and that she deserves the chance to fight her battles her way. Alexis, ever the realist, isn't convinced. She's been around long enough to know that emotions can be a person's worst enemy in Port Charles, and Willow's anger may soon explode in a way that neither she nor Michael can contain. Willow confronts Michael, again, and explode it does. Just hours after making bail, Willow Tate storms into the Metro Court Gardens and spots Michael Corinthos sitting casually with Jacinda and little Wiley Corinthos. The sight infuriates her. She can't understand how Michael could bring another woman into their son's life so soon. And worse, she suspects Jacinda's involvement in her recent troubles. Without hesitation, Willow confronts Michael in front of everyone. Her voice shakes with rage as she accuses him of framing her, planting the gun in her room, setting her up to take the fall for Drew's shooting. Michael denies it, his calm demeanor only fueling her anger. The tension between them crackles, raw and volatile, as Willow vows to prove his guilt. The public argument leaves bystanders stunned and sets off a ripple effect that will be felt across Port Charles. Brooklyn's desperate vigil. Back at General Hospital, the mood shifts from fury to fear. Brooklyn Quartermain waits anxiously for updates on her father, Ned Quartermain, who's undergoing emergency bypass surgery. Her worry is palpable. This is more than just concern, it's guilt. Brooklyn has been caught up in her own whirlwind of drama lately, and now, facing the possibility of losing her father, she's forced to confront what truly matters. Beside her stands Harrison Chase, offering comfort and stability. Their bond deepens in quiet moments like this, the kind where words aren't needed, only presence. As they wait for the doctor's update, Chase reminds her that Ned is a fighter and that the Quartermains, for all their flaws, always find a way to survive. Still, Brooklyn can't help but feel the weight of every unresolved issue, every harsh word, pressing down on her shoulders. A storm brewing in Port Charles. As night falls, the pieces begin to align for a chaotic chain reaction. The teen's secret mission could expose dangerous truths about the hospital. Britt and Jason's uneasy alliance might be tested by Pascal's next move. Willow and Michael's public feud threatens to fracture the Corinthos family further, and Laura's worst fears about the younger generation might soon come true. Thursday's episode of General Hospital is shaping up to be a pivotal one. A night of confrontations, consequences, and unexpected alliances. In a town where secrets are currency and trust is fleeting, everyone in Port Charles is walking a fine line between redemption and ruin. Next, we dive deeply into the complex and gripping revelations surrounding Rocco Falconeri and the woman who gave him life, Britt Westburn. This week, the drama thickens significantly as Rocco faces a harsh reality check about Britt, a woman whose past has been cloaked in shadows and secrets that threaten to shatter his perceptions forever. General Hospital fans will know that Emma Scorpio Drake and Giovanni Joe Palmieri are inching dangerously close to uncovering truths that may forever change the dynamics in Port Charles. Although they seem on the verge of a breakthrough, the delicate task of revealing Britt's involvement in some very troubling activities will not be straightforward. The duo's plan to infiltrate the cryptic lab of Professor Henry Hank Dalton sets the stage for a shocking revelation. This lab, a place steeped in mystery and perhaps unethical experimentation, may hold evidence tying Britt to events long before she stepped foot in their town. The implications suggest something far more sinister than mere animal testing, potentially shaking the very foundation of Rocco's understanding of his origins. Could it be that Britt is not actually who she claims to be? This emerging storyline promises to expose hidden layers of deceit and identity that will leave fans on the edge of their seats. Rocco's current state of ignorance is a double-edged sword. On one hand, his lack of knowledge keeps him innocent and hopeful about Britt's true character. On the other, it blinds him to a harsh reality that may unravel everything he cherishes. So far, Rocco has been actively seeking answers about his first 7 months, cherishing moments spent with Nathan West and Liesl Obrecht as he pieces together his fragmented past. Yet, in the process, he has been idealizing Britt, constructing an image of her that might be far from the truth. Britt herself wrestles with her tarnished reputation, a legacy she has desperately tried to outrun. The truth, as expected, lies somewhere between Rocco's hopeful illusion and Britt's burdened reality. This narrative arc raises poignant questions about identity, forgiveness, and the complexity of family bonds. If his friend's investigation leads to harsh truths, it might not only shatter Rocco's curiosity, but also break his spirit. Meanwhile, the tension unfolds in the lives of Lulu Spencer and Dante Falconeri, whose attempts to shield Rocco from the turmoil surrounding Britt have proven futile. Their strategy to keep Rocco at a distance only fueled his curiosity, culminating in a recent breach of trust when Rocco lied about his whereabouts to share a meal with Britt, Nathan, and Liesl. This moment of defiance might be a pivotal turning point if Rocco's admiration for Britt swiftly transforms into bitterness. Lulu and Dante might find some solace in the hard-earned lesson he receives. They aren't likely to be surprised by a sudden shift in his attitude towards Britt. Yet, as always, the story promises additional twists and emotional complexities yet to unfold, making this family saga an engrossing watch. Amidst the turmoil, there lies a glimmer of redemption for Britt Westburn. Though she faces intense scrutiny and suspicion, there remains a chance for her to emerge as a hero in this convoluted drama. Past actions, such as her brave rescue of Jocelyn Joss Jacks, serve as reminders that Britt is capable of great depths of courage and loyalty. If circumstances lead her to save Rocco from danger, it could profoundly impact how both he and his family view her. Such an act might compel Dante and Lulu to reconsider their stance and possibly soften their attitudes, paving the way for Britt to forge a stronger bond with Rocco, the boy she once named Ben. This prospect opens intriguing discussion about forgiveness, second chances, and the power of actions to redefine relationships. As the story continues to unfold, the question remains: how will Rocco and his family navigate the revelations about Britt? Is there space in Rocco's heart for another maternal figure, despite the shadows lurking around her past? Next, we're diving into one of the most intriguing questions circulating through Port Charles right now. Is Nell Benson about to rise from the dead? Rumors are swirling that Chloe Lanier could be gearing up for a dramatic return as one of GH's most infamous villains. With a string of recent resurrections shaking up the canvas and a dangerous lab break-in about to change everything, fans are bracing for a week filled with mystery, shock, and emotional upheaval. So, let's unpack what's coming up during the week of November 10th to 14th and what these twists could mean for the residents of Port Charles. The lab break-in, Joe and Emma's bold mission. Things kick off with Giovanni Joe Palmieri and Emma Scorpio Drake, two young and curious minds who can't seem to stay out of trouble. The duo decides to take their investigation one step further by breaking into the GH lab, convinced that something sinister is being hidden behind those sealed doors. What begins as a reckless adventure quickly transforms into a heart-pounding mission with life-altering consequences. Inside the sterile corridors of the lab, Joe and Emma's flashlights illuminate mysterious containment units and files marked confidential. Their curiosity becomes terror when they discover what appear to be human test subjects, unconscious, hooked up to machines, and eerily familiar. One of the figures could even resemble someone thought long gone. This shocking discovery is expected to ignite a major storyline, possibly setting the stage for another character's resurrection. Could one of those bodies belong to Nell Benson, the woman everyone loves to hate? History repeats itself. Britt and Nathan's miraculous returns. If you've been watching General Hospital long enough, you know death rarely sticks. In fact, Port Charles has practically rewritten the rules of mortality. Britt Westburn, once presumed dead, reappeared after it was revealed she had helped faking her demise. She managed to reintegrate into society, carrying the weight of her past but determined to carve out a new life. Then came the unbelievable twist. Nathan West, Britt's brother, also returned to the land of the living. His reappearance sent shockwaves through the GH community, especially because his body had been buried and mourned years ago. Even more disturbing, Nathan's memories are fragmented. He doesn't recall what happened to him during his missing years. That mystery alone opens 1,000 possibilities, including the theory that Nathan may have been involved in saving Nell Benson without even realizing it. Nathan's lost memories. A clue to Nell's survival? Could Nathan's missing memories hold the key to another resurrection? Some fans believe that Nathan might have unknowingly rescued Nell after her fall, perhaps while under the control of a secret organization or experimental program. His amnesia might not just be a side effect of trauma. It could be the result of mind manipulation or medical tampering, possibly linked to the same lab Joe and Emma just broke into. This theory makes perfect sense within GH's long tradition of secret labs, hidden experiments, and shadowy figures pulling the strings. If Nathan was one of several subjects experimented on, Nell could have been another. And if she's been alive this entire time, the big question becomes, why has she stayed hidden? What could she be planning? And who helped her disappear? Brooklyn Quartermain searches for answers. While the young generation stirs up chaos beneath the hospital, Brooklyn Quartermain finds herself facing questions of her own. Spoilers suggest that Brooklyn will be on the hunt for answers and might need the emotional support of Harrison Chase as she unravels a deeply personal mystery. Some fans speculate that her turmoil could be tied to a resurfacing threat, perhaps her former throat slasher, or someone connected to that dark chapter of her life. Brooklyn, despite her fierce exterior, has been through hell and back. If her past truly comes knocking again, it could push her to the brink and force her to confront how far she's come, and how fragile her peace still is. Chase, ever the steady presence, could once again become her anchor as danger looms. Elizabeth Baldwin and Willow Tate face emotional turmoil. In another corner of Port Charles, Elizabeth Baldwin senses that something isn't right. After years of heartbreak, loss, and secrets, her intuition has rarely failed her. Spoilers suggest she'll begin to feel uneasy about recent hospital activity, perhaps sensing the ripple effects of Joe and Emma's illegal exploration. Elizabeth's protective instincts could kick into overdrive, especially if she suspects that experiments are being conducted on unwilling subjects. Meanwhile, Willow Tate will receive stunning news that could shatter her fragile sense of peace. She's just beginning to rebuild her life after years of trauma, illness, and emotional upheaval. Whatever she learns this week could throw everything back into chaos. Could her shocking revelation be connected to the lab storyline, or perhaps to Nell Benson herself? Given their complicated history, it wouldn't be far-fetched to imagine that Nell's potential return would hit Willow like a freight train. Carly Corinthos encounters a surprise. Over at the Metro Court, Carly Corinthos is in for her own surprise, one that could tie all these loose threads together. Carly has long been one of Port Charles' fiercest protectors, but she's also haunted by the ghosts of her past. If Nell Benson truly is alive, Carly will be one of the first to feel the tremors. After all, Nell wasn't just a rival. She was a reflection of Carly's own darkest impulses, a twisted version of herself. Their rivalry ended in tragedy, or so Carly believed. If Nell returns, Carly's entire world could unravel once more. The guilt, the rage, and the fear would all come flooding back. This storyline could reignite one of GH's most explosive feuds, setting the stage for a showdown that Port Charles won't forget anytime soon. Could Nell Benson be the next resurrection? Speculation about Nell's comeback has been building for months, especially since Chloe Lanier's off-screen comments and her real-life connection to Josh Kelly have fueled the rumor mill. In an interview with Woman's World, Kelly admitted that the two had joked about Nell's possible return and even teased the idea of a romantic reunion between Nell and Cody. If the show were to follow through on that, it would add a shocking twist. Not only would Nell's survival rock Port Charles, but pairing her with Cody could bring chaos to multiple storylines. Imagine the fallout if Nell turned up alive and began manipulating Cody, Sasha, and even Nina Reeves, her biological mother, all at once. The science of resurrection, GH's dangerous pattern. One recurring theme in General Hospital history is that death is never the end. It's just an intermission. Britt and Nathan's returns have already cracked open that door. But if Nell walks through it, the show could be setting a dangerous precedent. Characters like Jason Morgan, Nicolas Casadini, and even Helena Casadini have all danced between life and death, often due to clandestine labs and medical experiments, just like the one Joe and Emma are uncovering. If this is part of a larger operation, possibly tied to Victor Casadin's remnants or a new underground medical faction, the show might be preparing for a wave of comebacks that reshuffle the power dynamics of Port Charles. Every resurrection changes the board, and Nell's could be the most explosive of all. A storm of returns and revelations. As the week of November 10th to 14th unfolds, Port Charles will be buzzing with secrets and suspicions. Joe and Emma's reckless curiosity could expose a conspiracy larger than they ever imagined. Britt and Nathan's mysterious reappearances might hold the key to a medical network bringing the dead back to life. Brooklyn, Elizabeth, and Willow will each face their own battles as unsettling truths begin to surface. And above it all, a familiar shadow may soon return, Nell Benson, alive, vengeful, and ready to reclaim her place in the world. Whether Chloe Lanier officially reprises her role or not, the whispers are loud and persistent. Something wicked is brewing in Port Charles, and the dead are not done talking.